All right, so now you're the man in the running back room for the Michigan Wolverines. How excited are you for that opportunity?
Oh, I mean, I'm excited for the season, but I look at every single day as the running in the running back room. It's an open competition. I look at myself as the man. Everybody is willing to. Everybody could compete for the number one running back job, and I've told my guys, I'm like, you guys are not beating me. I'm going to work my hardest. And you guys could try to compete, but you're not going to be able to. You know what I'm saying? Trying to bring them along. You know what I'm saying? And with that, they've been taking that as like they've been working their butts off, treatment, rehab, nutrition, everything that my running back has been doing. They've been doing it right. So, I'm grateful for them, man. To answer the question, like, no, I don't look at myself as that. I look at it as, we all have the opportunity to compete for running back one.
So you talked about earning the right to have a ton of reps this year. Like, what does that process look like day in and day out?
Yeah, I think you just have to prove to the coaches like that you're a trustworthy individual. It's like a quarterback. Like if you're throwing 5, 10 picks at practice, like probably not going to be in the game. But you know what I'm saying? Like when it's a close game. So it's kind of like that. Like you have to have the ball security. You have to have pass protection. You have to be able to read the defense. You have to be able to find the holes. It's just those certain things that that allow the coach to have more trust and faith in you to be able to, carry the program in your hands, which is the football.
You guys are physical, right? I talked to Coach Moore earlier. He's talked about smash, right? Like everybody
Hey,
knows about that. How do you manage your body through the course of a season?
yeah. I think this year specifically would help more because I only have one class to take versus I had to take like 5 classes during the season. So for me now it's going to be a lot more rehab, massages, working my butt off in practice, watching film. But I have a lot more time to do so versus like having to rush those things and ultimately not being able to get treatment because I have class or have to rush after practice because the training room is about to close after getting the cold tub. So I have a lot more time to do everything that I need to do and get into a routine, into a system.
Now, you talked about this offseason how you wanted to work on your game. One of the things that popped up is being a more patient runner.
That's
Like,
right.
what does a more patient style look like?
Uh, it's a little bit of like Le'Veon Bell to me, Walter Payton, and like a little bit of Barry Sanders to me. So one of my OGs, I would say, my freshman year of high school, he was in 12th. He was a senior, so he was running the ball like really well. It's like, what are you doing? And he was like, I'm just running. Like I see it, I'm going. Like I'm not waiting or nothing like that. Versus me, I find myself like way too patient. And Tony Alford, he has taught me about like patience and schemes, like inside zone. You gotta be a little bit more faster. Gap schemes, you could use your patience a lot more. You could have a mixture of that in inside zone. He's taught me a lot about like that type of style of running. So he's elevated my game as a runner tremendously.
Last year, ton of seniors, a lot of guys that are out the door right now. There's a leadership void. Blake Corum was in your room. I know you learned a lot from him. How do you personally want to fill that leadership void?
I think my thing is allowing other people to lead, getting as many voices as I can possible, to have their voice and to be able to lead. I think the best football teams are the ones that are player led, where you have 20 guys saying the same message, to where now other guys are like, okay, he's saying that, he's saying that, he's saying that. The head coach is saying, my position coach saying that. Ultimately, I think that allows us to be successful because it's not just me saying everything. I had Josiah Stewart saying something, Makari, Max Bredesen, Will, Colston, Mason, KG, Orgy. Like all these guys are saying the exact same thing that all of us are trying to relate to everybody. So they're making it easy.
Does it feel different right now defending a title rather than chasing one?
No, I think it's pretty much the same thing because whether you win, you have to go back to work and go do it again, and if you lose, you're still chasing that same obligation. So there's no difference. You're still chasing that title, whether you win or you lose it.
How was Coach Moore different than Coach Harbaugh?
No different, not at all. Not business, like handling business wise. Personality, yeah, a little bit different, but not different at all. Like when coach is saying something, you shut up and you listen. Period, point blank. And same thing like Coach Harbaugh and Coach Moore have the same. Like you could have fun, but when it's time to lock in, you lock in. So It's no different at all.
Now, you do mention the personality differences. Like, what do
Yeah,
you
yeah,
see
yeah,
out of
yeah.
Coach Moore that,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
Coach Harbaugh maybe didn't do?
Yeah, see, like Coach Harbaugh, I'm sorry, Coach Moore. Coach Moore is like serious and on the field, like he allows like coaches to do the thing. Same thing with Coach Harbaugh, but like Coach Harbaugh would just, he'll come up there, you know what I'm saying? What's up, guys? Certain those kind of, just things that like just make you laugh. Well, like Coach Moore is serious because he has something he wants to prove something this year. He's the first black head coach. He wants to show the world that black head coaches at Michigan could do it. They can win. They could sustain a standard that has been held for the past hundreds of years. So, you know, ultimately, like it's really nothing different. Like when it's time to like lock in, but yeah.
All right, let's talk about these new teams. 4 of them coming into the conference this year. Is there more excitement, or do you see it as more of a challenge?
I think that do I see it as an opportunity or a challenge? Neither. I look at it as a challenge to get better every single day, to win and to prove something to yourself and to the world. That you have done it, that you can do it. So I believe that we're going to be successful, and there's no doubt in my mind about that.
The playoff is expanding for this upcoming season as well. Do you think it'll be easier or harder to win it? I mean, you guys know what it feels like to go through the 14 playoff. Will it be easier or harder to win a title in this era?
Harder for sure.
Yeah.
Especially guys who have nicks and bruises. Players may opt out. They may stay. And you need everybody to stay healthy. How many games is it? 17, 18?
17 games.
Right, that's the NFL. That's an NFL kind of year, and college. Like maybe after this wave or 2 waves, like guys would be more accustomed to it. But I feel like it's going to be harder. You may play the same team 2 or 3 times throughout the year in the playoff, going into the playoffs. So also, it may be hard. It's going to be harder.
All right, let's talk about respect here for a sec. So we come into media days, and you guys, 3-time Big Ten champs, just came off of a national title. All the people sitting in my seat are talking about Ohio State. They're talking about Oregon. They're not talking so much about Michigan. Do you guys internalize those conversations that you hear, or do you just block it all out?
I mean, we block it out, but like we hear noise. You know what I'm saying? It's like a knock at the door. Like you hear the door, but like you don't have to open it if you don't want to. And I think that that's where we're at. We're not opening up the door for anybody. At the end of the day, reporters they're not the ones who's putting on the wing helmet or strapping up their shoulder pads and their shoes. It's us. So ultimately, the guys who are going to practice every single day, working their butts off, and the coaches who are putting a tremendous game plan in, those are the ones that we're riding with every single day. We're not worried about what other people are saying about us.
So from a legacy standpoint, you have Blake Corum, who is going to go down as a Michigan legend. You've got yourself, big national championship game, huge opportunity this year. And then you've mentioned the other guys that are in that running back room, the guys that are coming right now. What type of legacy can you get from, this group probably from the last 4 or 5 year window?
What can I get from it?
Yeah, like what kind of legacy will you guys leave?
Like prior 4 or 5 years, or like
Blake,
coming?
You,
Hassan,
next guys, yeah.
You can't forget Hassan, bro.
Hassan's in there too.
Can't forget him.
Yeah.
I think that it's been a trickle down, right? I think it was like Hassan to Blake, and then Blake to me, and then me and Khalil to Ben Hall, Cole Cabana, Jordan Marshall, Micah. Like it's just going to be a trickling down because ultimately we're there for each other, and it doesn't matter who gets how many carries, but like at the end of the day, when their names are called on, like they're going to rise to the challenge. So that's the type of legacy we're going to have. This, like every running back room each year, it has been no fall off. So
now you guys like to say it's great to be a Michigan Wolverine.
That's
What's your
right.
favorite thing about being a Wolverine?
I feel like how much it relates to me as a man, to me as a person. Disciplined, gritty, confident, well organized. Not you could say a perfectionist. Hard on yourself. Stuff like that. You're holding yourself to a standard, and I hold myself to a standard, and the University of Michigan holds itself to a standard. So, I think it just corresponds perfectly.
All right. Is there something about life at Michigan that people on the outside wouldn't know? Something surprising about being at Michigan.
I don't know. I never been to a party or anything, so I don't know about that. But it's hard being at Michigan. I'm sure as it was at Ohio State for you, it's hard. Like, you're gonna feel the same way it would be anywhere else. Like do people even like me here? Like, like do the coaches like me? But ultimately, you're gonna have to shape yourself, and ultimately, you have to be your own biggest supporter, your own biggest critic. You can't rely on. I can't rely on Coach Moore to critique me. I have to critique myself. I have to support myself. Like, you just can't do it. So ultimately, I think that I don't know. Like, every place is different, but the best thing about Michigan is how much of support you have and how much people genuinely care for you. And you can make a phone. I can make a phone call right now to somebody and they'll pick up for me. Because of that, how much care and respect that each Wolverine has for each other.